Previously on Big Brother.
Oh, I'm such a baby.
Kyle's virgin boy energy was getting out of control.
I just want to be happy and find freaking a girl like this, freaking Alyssa.
And as he got closer to Alyssa, he wanted to only protect her at all costs. His idea was to start a race war.
That possibility of those six with that background, I mean, it looks very similar to the cookout with a very diverse background.
After Taylor won this recent HOH, Alyssa made some negative comments about her.
Alyssa literally said, calm down.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, when you were crying and screaming, Alyssa goes, calm down.
Once Taylor found out about this, he wanted to renom Alyssa after the veto. But of course Kyle wanted no part of that because he and Alyssa had sex in the have-not room on a floaty. This was also during Alyssa's period. Talk about Sunday, Bloody Sunday. It was actually a Saturday, but I wanted to make that joke.
Can I tell you something?
Yes.
You won't tell anybody, promise.
With you and Kyle, I don't tell people.
Yeah.
Alyssa told Turner she and Kyle had sex
With.
tonight. Turner tells Kyle he knows about the sex.
I know I'm not supposed to know this, and I know I'm not supposed to tell you I know this, but I know you guys fucked yesterday, which is dope. Very recently, these two have gotten, very close.
Turner told Monty about the sex too, but an all-white racist alliance started forming without him again. Will the race war continue to grow bigger? Find out tonight on Big Brother.
Dude, I'm telling you, if someone took a London trip for me, they would be fucking so on the block. I wouldn't even think twice.
Welcome to Big Brother, sponsored by Fun Boy Butterfly Floaties, great for the pool and to fuck on. The race war just continues to get worse, and alliance members spiraling, playing very messy, an all-around messy HOH, although most of it is just straight-out racism. But first, Indy and Terrence are on the block, but breaking news! Here on the OCG network, we are investigating the race war imploding in the Big Brother game, as Michael and Brittany have used their racial bias to jump on board with Kyle's full-on racism. We've investigated them also bringing up the usual microaggressions that Kyle's been spewing this entire game about how Taylor, Monty, and Joe are so loud and scary. Kyle is successfully stirring up white panic in the house, similar to that of the extreme conservative talking points, and that has gotten Brittany and Michael in that white panic.
We need to dwindle those numbers so that there isn't a backup plan for them. Because if they really wanted to gather up more numbers, they'd come after us like next week, like Monty winning or Joseph winning HOH next week and then come after us.
They talk about how all of the minorities could possibly work together, but then they also contradict themselves, talking about how Joseph is loyal.
Yes, Joseph is loyal. Like, he never spilled the beans about the Oasis the first 2 weeks. I don't think he's ever shared anything about the leftovers.
What is the motivation for this alliance other than racial bias? Kyle used the classic silent majority Republican talking point to discuss how white people should be panicking that the loud majority wants to see social and racial issues get better, and that white people will lose their place at the top of the mountain. And let's be real with ourselves. Michael's been on board with all of Kyle's plans this entire time. Michael does not talk strategically with anyone so much other than Brittany, except for Kyle, and he's never shot down these Republican talking points. And we can look at the footage to see all of the times in this game that the minority players all wanted to work together in some alliance. And this whole race war should be completely illogical for Brittany's game. But she does not get a pass either, because she is using racism as strategy. Brittany would be on the very bottom of this white alliance like I've been saying forever. And they also do never want to bring this up to Turner because they know he is also close to the minorities. All of these white players always worried about Turner and how they could get closer to Turner, but why do they never want to get closer to players like Joseph and Monty? We can look back at all of the times Michael and Brittany have legitimately tried to make connections with Joseph and Monty. We asked OCG news correspondent Steve Harvey to show the footage of Michael and Brittany trying to strengthen their relationships with the minority players in this game other than their fake allyship with Taylor.
It's up there.
I'll tell you what, I'll make a deal with you. If that's up there, I'm going home.
That's all for now. Back to your regularly scheduled program. I spent too much time editing tonight on this fucking video, so I won't get enough time to rant. I will save that for another day. I have plenty of more rants for Michael and Brittany. Michael and Brittany did choose to go with the racism side of gameplay. There was, yes, some strategy in it today by Michael, even though it ended up blowing up in his face for the most part so far. Just doing way too much. Michael and Brittany try and do way too much for people that have zero social games. And yeah, Turner's still not in the all-white alliance yet, but I think it's probably inevitable. The house is splitting into the race war 100%. And I'm also sick of people always asking, why is everything got to be about race? When Kyle is the very first person to make this season about race. Kyle is the one using the racist gameplay. And Taylor did say she didn't want to use her race to take out another black woman. And that gave Kyle some good ammo to continue on his race war, grouping all the minorities. All of the minorities are just walking, talking stereotypes to Kyle. He also does a lot of projecting about how they're so scary and aggressive. Michael joining in with his racist self, saying Taylor's going to try and strong-arm them to make sure Alyssa goes. Meanwhile, nobody's been doing any of the strong-arming except for Kyle every time he has to save Alyssa. And I don't like the excuse of it's just gameplay for Michael and Brittany. Well, I mean, you can't even use that excuse for Michael at this point, in my opinion. He has shown his ass with his continuing to always go with Kyle's agenda, even though Kyle played their asses and threw them under the bus. But to me, I use this on Twitter as well. If you rob a bank and you're just in the car driving off with the person that robbed the bank, you're still an accomplice. I see Michael and Brittany the same way. It's like if you put food coloring in water, eventually even if you just put a little bit in the water, eventually the entire water is very murky from the food coloring. And that is how I see Brittany and Michael's games at this point. Their gameplay is marred with the fact that they too have tried to use this racism with their gameplay to form this all-white alliance, especially for Brittany because it makes zero damn sense for her to want to be at the bottom of this all-white alliance. I kind of see Brittany maybe wanting to play the middle, but she's doing a very terrible job if that's what her plan is, to try and play both sides. Brittany and Turner would have the biggest payoff with the leftover alliance getting far because they could go under the radar and then play the middle. But Brittany wanting to play the middle between sides, it's not going to work for her. She doesn't have the social game to pull it off. They went to Kyle after Brittany was pushing the most for Alyssa to go last night in the HOH with the rest of the leftover sans Kyle. Brittany then tries to play both sides poorly with Kyle and Michael to just continue to go along with Michael. Brittany does things that pay off Michael's game more than it pays off hers. Way too much of it. This got exposed though when Kyle talked to Taylor one-on-one. Kyle telling Taylor, going over the names that said they want Alyssa to stay this week, naming Michael and Brittany, even though last time in the HOH room they were two people pushing for Alyssa to go. So kind of caught up playing both sides. I don't know if Taylor will do anything with that information at this point. There was a great moment though when Indy came up saying that Kyle told her he doesn't want to use the veto because he's afraid Alyssa might go up. That exposes Kyle Taylor did some great acting up with Indy and Jasmine, saying that's not the case. She's been pushing for Monty to go this whole week. That was the initial plan. So once again, Kyle's plan's kind of going up in smoke there. And everybody keeps telling Kyle, oh, Brittany and Michael were the ones pushing hard for Alyssa to go up. But no, Kyle, this racist piece of shit, believes whites only in his small little pathetic little world that he's lived forever. Anyway, I will have more in-depth to say about this over the next couple of days because I spent too much time on editing tonight. I will say, though, Kyle and Alyssa finally fucking. Kyle, you would think, would have got some post-nut clarity. I think he did, because after fucking her, he went outside talking about how Alyssa has a bunch of red flags and is way too jealous, but he's still protecting her this extreme. You know, Kyle had a logical argument tonight in his talk with Taylor. He doesn't want to be the one to have to use the veto to put Alyssa up. It makes logical sense. If this would have just been his argument, it could have been an easy week. But no, instead, Kyle once again inciting white fear to start the race war and build this all-white racist alliance using lingo from the Republican Party that's been going on for 50 years. And I know I probably piss off conservatives, but let me piss off liberals real quick too. Because Michael and Brittany, the liberals, are far worse in my opinion. They go along with this fakeness and how they're allies and how they felt bad about all the shit that happened to Taylor, and then they turn around and do the same exact microaggressions, at least Michael does, and Brittany continues to play along with it, and Brittany only likes to talk with Taylor when she has nobody because she just wants to step on the minority to get herself ahead when everything that's gone wrong with Brittany's game was her wrongdoing. In the first 2 weeks, she played messy as fuck. She continues to do so. Taylor, on the other side, the cards were stacked against Taylor during the casting process from the shitty-ass show because of the way they casted the season. We had the first 2 weeks of microaggressions, racism, and all-around toxic environment for her. Lastly, I'll just say Alyssa has this injured back, allegedly. This is the drugs part of my title because Alyssa might need drugs for pain in her back, and maybe it's really injured, but I believe in my heart that she is faking this back injury so that she doesn't have to fuck Kyle again.